Whether you're involved in a divorce or a custody battle, if you have kids and you're looking to relocate to a different state or somewhere far away, this video is for you. In this video, we're going to tackle exactly just that, what to prepare for, what you need to do in order to help your chances in relocating, or if you're on the other side, to prevent those kids from leaving. Hi, I'm Sina Mohajer with Mohajer Law Firm. We specialize in family law, civil litigation, criminal defense, and personal injury. In these mini-series, I like to tackle complex issues and simplify it for our viewers in order to give you that information and know-how and how to handle your case more effectively, or just simply to answer some questions that you might have about your case. So if you're new to this channel, welcome, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you're always in the know-how about any new videos being posted. And without further ado, I welcome you all to A Walk in the Park. If you don't have a pending action, then there's technically no laws in place that prevents you from doing whatever it is that you want to do with your kids. But does that necessarily mean that you should go ahead and move and relocate with your kids without going through the proper channels? Number one is always having a discussion with the other parent, getting consent. Now, it may be very well for your particular case that you could just pick up and leave and nothing bad will happen later on. But that's why it's important to talk to a seasoned family law attorney to understand what kind of ramifications your actions may have if you do decide to move and relocate without going through the proper steps. But if you do have a pending action, then there's an automatic temporary restraining order in place. That prevents you or the other parent from relocating with the kids without the written consent of the other parent or a court order. And if you do have a court order in place, whether it's a temporary order or a permanent judgment, then you want to look at those documents within those four corners to determine what is it that you're allowed to do and what is it that you're not. But odds are, if there's a pending action or there was a pending action and now it's been finalized, you're going to need to either A, have the consent of the other parent before you move, or B, go to court and get permission from the court. So what happens if the other parent doesn't give you the consent? What do you do next? Well, your only other option is to file paperwork with the court and get permission from the court in order for you to relocate with the children. But how do you do that? Well, you got to do it through a formal motion. You got to fill out your paperwork, what's called an RFO or request for order, schedule a hearing date, and establish the requirements needed in order to allow the court to give you that permission or possibly deny it. Main factors to consider is always look at what's in the best interest of the kids. The court doesn't care about your interest. They don't care that your family lives in Ohio or you have a better paying job there, or the cost of living here in California is just so expensive that you can't even maintain rent. Sure, all of those things I just mentioned, you can relate to the best interest of the kids, but that's the kicker, is to relate it all back to the children and take that spotlight off of you and put it back on the kids. So one main factor that you want to look at is what's going to be the plan should you move. Set out a detailed plan for the court to establish, one, what school the kids will go to, how that's compared to the current school they're at, whether it's a better school or of equal value. Talk about whether you do have family elsewhere and there is no family here, to give that type of familiarity with the children, allow them to build these bonds with aunts, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers, or even cousins. Another factor also to keep in mind is how the visitation schedule is going to be if the court were to give you that permission. Going into court and just asking to move is great, but if you don't have a plan of how these kids are going to maintain their relationship with the other parent, your odds of prevailing in that hearing are going to be slim to none. Because again, what's the most important factor is the best interest of these kids. And presumably in the state of California, the best interest for children is to have consistent and continuous contact with both parents. So how's that visitation going to work? It's important to lay that out as a roadmap for the court. Now, what happens if you're on the other side and you want to defend against a move away? You don't want your kids to leave the state of California. Well, it's important to focus on your bond and your relationship with those kids. How will it affect if your kids wanted to move to, for example, Florida and you're here, yet you have alternating weekends? That's going to be impossible for you to exercise alternating weekends if the kids live all the way out on the East Coast. So it's important to bring these up to the court and to establish, for example, how rooted the kids are here, whether it's in sports, their friends, your family, their connection with the community or the school. All this is going to help you to defend against a move away. But at the end of the day, life happens. The court is aware of this. So it's going to be a tough decision for the court to make as far as whether allowing the kids to leave or to require them to stay. Another note to keep in mind also for those of you who are interested in moving. When you ask for a move away order, you're essentially telling the court that I am going to move. I'm only asking permission to take the kids with me. So if you do not prevail in that motion, the court has to consider or assume that you're still moving. You're still going to leave the state of California. So what's going to happen with the kids if they cannot relocate with you? Naturally, it's going to be moved over, physical custody over to the non-custodial parent. So before you rush into court and ask for a move away, it's very important to sit down with a seasoned family law attorney. Figure out the plan of action. After all, this is not a game of checkers where you make a move and see what happens. This is a game of chess. You need to always plan ahead to ensure the success of what you're trying to achieve. So if you have questions about your case, I welcome you. Reach out to our office, schedule a consultation. I'm happy to sit down with you one-on-one to discuss your options and figure out the best approach to take. Or if you've got a simple question here or there, by all means, hit that comment button, leave us a comment, and we'll get right back to you. If you're new to this channel, again, welcome to our new series. Please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And if you know a friend or a loved one who can benefit from this video, please go ahead and share this video with them. And I welcome you all to our new series called A Walk in the Park.